card if you wanted to ask a question. If you want to ask a question, you did get a little 3x5. Raise your hand and somebody will get you a card. All I need is your name. You don't have to write the question down. While they're doing that, my name is Warren Hedstrom. I'm the founder of the Knox County 912 Project and a member of the Ohio Liberty Council. Before we start the format of this evening, we are going to give everyone an opportunity to ask a question that wants to ask a question. We'd like to keep it around 30 seconds per question. We don't want statements, we'd like questions. So if you've got a statement to make, wait till after the meeting's over. We've got some questions that were submitted to the Ohio 18 website, and we'll get those first. Once you ask a question, the candidates will have approximately 3 minutes to answer. If you ask, you have two options. You can ask one question to a candidate with one follow-up, or you can ask one question of all the candidates with no follow-up, okay? Also, if you ask a question that's a yes or no, you ask for a yes or no answer, the candidates have to answer a yes or no, and then they have the rest of the 3 minutes to explain their answer, but they do have to answer a yes or no. This proceeding is being videoed, and it's going to be on the Ohio 18 website so that the general population can go in and actually watch this proceeding tonight. So, thank you. Before we get started, I'm going to give a short bio of each one of the candidates, and they will have 3 minutes to explain why they're running and what their positions might be. Okay. The first one is Bo Bromberg. Bo Bromberg lives in Newark, Ohio. Bo has 20 years business management experience. He served 7 years as a youth pastor. He's been married for over 20 years and has 3 children, ages 21, 19, and 17. Bo?
Thank you. I appreciate the Liberty Council going through all this hard work. I appreciate everybody coming out, taking the time of your evening to help decide the direction of the nation. You're going to hear from a lot of politicians today. And you know, there's more than one way you can say something. I'll give you an example. I could look at you and say that you're so ugly, every time you look at a clock, it breaks. Or I could look into your eyes and say, every time I look into your eyes, time stands still. So you're going to hear a lot of politicians, and they're going to say what you want to hear. The politicians are all going to say we're pro-life. But when you get down to the issues, a lot of these politicians up here, in some situations, are pro-death and will cast pro-death votes like our congressman currently does. And all of them are going to say up here that they believe in strong defense. You know, time stands still. But if you check the voter guide at Ohio18.com, everyone to the right-hand side of me supports pulling out of the UN. While I believe, like Abraham Lincoln, keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer. I would not want to give up our veto power in the UN. You know, during a 19-year span, we vetoed over 54 UN resolutions. That's almost one every 5 months. I would not want to give up that power. If you don't think the United Nations will go directly against the United States if we don't have veto power, then you're living a little naive. You know, right now the UN is trying to decide an issue of child rights and controlling how parents can punish and discipline their children. And I want to make sure we have that veto right to eliminate that so that we do not have to deal with that situation around this world. Then you're also going to hear politicians say that they believe in limited government. You know, time stands still, they're going to tell you. But then most of the candidates up here support Republican reform of your health care. See, I'm not opposed to Democrat reform of your health care. I'm opposed to the federal government taking control of our health care. Because whether it's Republicans or Democrats, they're still taking control of your health care. Now, with health care, there's some situations with the cost is a problem. But our quality is not a problem. We are far above the rest of the world, and our research and development is far above the rest of the world. So why should we put all that into the hands of the some things that we can do to help focus with costs, like tax credits for you helping to pay for your income tax, or healthcare savings plans, or letting doctors advertise their price. So we can focus on the price but keep you in control. And then all the politicians are going to say that they believe in the Constitution. Time stands still. This is going to be a big one. But you can check out the voting record, OH18.com, question number 16. Every candidate from the right-hand side of me supports the federal government stepping over states' rights in the industry of forcing states to sell insurance. See, where in the Constitution does it say the federal government can tell us who can and can't sell insurance in the state of Ohio? Right now, the state of Ohio determines who sells insurance in the state of Ohio. And to save a buck, I will not cast a vote against the Constitution to save a buck like everybody else did on their voter guide. The Constitution limits the federal government and gives states rights. I will not vote against the Constitution.
Thank you, Paul. Next up is Mr. Fred Daly. Fred Daly lives in Mount Vernon, Ohio. Fred's formal education includes a BA degree from Anderson University in Political Science and History, a master's degree in Public Administration from Ball State University. Fred was appointed by Governor George Voinovich in 1991 to the post he held for 16 years, the Director of the Ohio Department of Agriculture. Mr. Daly is a combat veteran, served in the Bush administration as the chairman of the Federal Agriculture Mortgage Corporation. In 2008, Mr. Daly ran against Zach Space for the Ohio 18 congressional seat. Daly and his wife, Rita, have been married for 39 years and reside on a 270-acre working farm in Knox County, where they raise Angus cattle. They have 3 children and 5 grandchildren. Mr. Daly?
Thank you, Warren. Can you hear me okay? Is that better? There you go. Strike 15 seconds off my time. Thank you for the introduction, Warren. Thank you for the great job that you're doing, and thanks to each one of you for coming out tonight. I know that you're patriots. I can tell that when I look in your eyes and when I shake your hands, and I can tell that you're unhappy with the direction of this country. There's times, quite frankly, I wish time would stand still, because I liked it much better when I was a kid growing up, where we had more freedoms and we didn't have the government sticking their nose in all of our business the way we do now. It's up to us to correct that. We can do it. I have a great deal of faith and confidence in the American people when we become mobilized, and the Tea Party is evidence that there's discontent bubbling up at the grassroots level, which I think will bode well for this next year. As Warren indicated, I come from a farm background. I was raised on a small farm with very humble beginnings. A farmhouse with no inside toilet, but I had great parents, and they told us about this great country, and that the sky's the limit. There's nothing that we cannot do if we work hard, because of the great opportunities that this country has given us. I'm a product of the American dream. Life's been good to me. I've worked hard, and I want my kids and grandkids to have the same opportunity that I have. Quite frankly, I thought long and hard about getting back into this race again. I went to Washington, D.C., and I visited with some people I respect, people like Jimmy Jordan. I come from a wrestling family. Jimmy was one of our coaches for my son at Ohio State University. Mike Pence comes from Indiana, where I went to college. You see him on Fox News. And I told Mike, I said, I don't think I want to go through this again. It was a lot of work. Zach Space outspent us 10-1, and I'm not sure I want to do it again. Mike put his hand on my shoulder and said, Fred, you really should. He said, I had to run 3 times before I got elected. I can tell you it's a whole lot more like surfing than it is like sprinting. You've got to catch the right wave the right year, and this is going to be the right year. This is the year we can send Zach Space back to Dover. But, many of you know me. I'm a rock-solid conservative. I carry the Constitution in my pocket, and not to say I'm an expert on it, but I respect it, and I study it, and I respect our founding fathers. It's part of our history, part of our legacy. I'm pro-life, pro-Second Amendment, and you will find a stronger supporter of Second Amendment. I slept with an M16 for a year. Grew up with a .22 rifle shot between people's heads on the airlines. I believe English should be the official language in this country. I believe marriage between a man and a woman. I believe that people that